Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Good morning. This is Kathy for Getting Chatty with Kathy, and I am so happy that you're with us today. We have a fantastic guest on the show today. She is a celebrated artist here in Saskatchewan, especially up in PA, and I have been an admirer of her art since I was pregnant with my first, and I received a card with her painting on it. So this is Leah Dorion of PA, Saskatchewan. Hi, Leah.
Hello, Kathy.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing really well. I just absolutely love summer. It's, August is a time where, we're just getting ready for those gardens to, be completed and bring in fall very soon. I just think it's such an inspiring time. The creative juices strong right now.
I agree. It's true. I also feel like winter's a good month too because I'm hibernating inside.
Yes, I do most of my work. I am so out on the land in the summer. Like I try to do as much outdoor art or traveling, doing a more outdoor situational art in as much in the spring and the summer, early fall. And then come winter, it's like hit the studio and be creative and meditate and focus. And, I don't mind being stormed in compared to most people. I'm like, good, I need to get more creative. So, it makes me slow down and take the time to be creative. And I think that's such an important part of winter reflection. Working with the seasons, that's so part of my whole artistic practice is working with cycle seasons.
Isn't that funny? Because the image that I really, really first saw and fell in love with is called 9 Moons. And what that image is, my mother-in-law gave it to me. It was a card with a woman who has not pixelated, but little dots. Yeah. And then she's holding her tummy. But just the way it was, it just felt so special, the energy about it.
I love that artwork, like the pink and the yellows and the sacredness, that carrying life, and that there's something so special with the woman carrying her baby, and she's in that 9th moon stage, the glow.
Totally.
It's an amazing process. And in that painting, I have actually those circles actually go from a small moon to a large moon, representing she's in her 9th moon, ready to bring that new life into the world. It's a lot of symbolism. Like my art, the circle, the color, there's just a lot of meaning that goes in, and I think people who follow my art or maybe heard me speak or read something about me reflecting on my artistic practice really knows that I use a lot of symbolism and things to tell that story very strategically so that it sort of goes, I think, the feeling that birth, it's about to happen. Just the way I compose, the image, it's really very, very intentional, very intentional.
Well, and there's something about the way that when you look at one of your pictures that's very distinct. Now, I have a question, Leah. How did that all start? Where were you always seeing in color and wanting to draw, or where does this all come from?
Yes, childhood is the place it started for me. Creative family, river Metis girl, and, being always near a river and with the, having that beautiful Metis free-spirited childhood, I was able to be creative and encouraged, like my mom, my dad, and I watched, the creative arts in my family, Auntie Isabel, and, just the creativity in the family system is just profoundly inspiring. And my dad, my Metis dad from Cumberland House, Saskatchewan, carpenter, he lived his first years of his life always, trapping, hunting, fishing, in the northern community, and getting a trade and leaving the north, he always built and made things, and he used innovation. And I watched him and my mom like co-create. Like, she'd take an idea, they'd hash it through, and he'd build it, and they'd tweak, and they went through such a creative, beautiful process that I was witness to. And I just really got that anything can be made with an idea, a vision, and some good old-fashioned hard work.
That's
it can be done.
Inspirational, just to see that happening. And how did it start? So you're seeing mom and dad, they're creating things, and then you just wanted to get your hands in there, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And it's so cute because Dad built pretty well all our houses we ever had. And, so us kids were playing in the gravel, running among foundations and, oh my gosh, I just loved, always smelt the smell of wood, fresh cut wood is like, to me, when you think of a scent that you associate with love and with a parent. And I think of that beautiful, warm scent of wood, fresh cut wood, when I think of my late father. He's gone now, he's in spirit, but oh boy, the good memories that come when I, construction sites, I'm like happy. Like, people are like, stressed out, and I'm like, I love this. Two different point of views.
It's funny how they're still with you whenever, you have those moments, eh?
Truly, truly, truly. Absolutely. But yeah, and what's so interesting about this month is there's 2 supermoons. Like, one of the things that I really represent, and I've been very much a part of, because looking at women's connection to the natural world and the cycles and fertility and birth and life-giving, the moon is like the muse of that. And being an artist, the moon is like known in the art world as the muse of all muse. She's, that intuitive, emotional, loving, mysterious force that births life, moves water and emotions. So I've been really dedicated in the last, I'd say about 7 to 10 years in my art, really representing the moon very strongly. And I did an art show in Regina, Kathy. I don't know if you ever got to see it. I can't remember the year, but Dunlop Library hosted my 13 Moons art show.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really well received. And then it went to Wanuskewin Heritage Park too. And then, so it had a beautiful journey through, the communities. And it was really nice to give that voice to women and have it through my little Métis lens, my own little view, and see where other people connected to. And it was such a great show because women could see so much of themselves and bond, and we're all bonded through the moon and the cycles of femininity that are present in this world, and it was so wonderful to see different women from different world views and cultures see my show and still have a deep, emotional, powerful reaction and feeling a connection. And that made me so happy. It was really a wonderful thing to put out there and then be able to receive such positive feedback as well.
Wow. It's hard not to like your art. It's just the brightness of it and the feel of it. It's really cool. When did you start painting and doing that side of things?
Well, I've always been like one of those eternal seekers of knowledge. I did get my teaching degree. I did teach adults, and then I ended up teaching with Suntech for years and just always. But then when I had my son, and he's 20, just turned 20, so 20 years ago, when he was little, and that creative juice has just really flowed, and I had really tough postpartum. And one of the tools that I really turned to was, I'm like, okay, need to got to paint, draw, get myself through these, this rough time and still be a good mom and get myself together and do some recovery. And that's when that artist really birthed, was through that really motherhood journey for me. And I have to say, like, my son, he has really been the gift to me. He's been my greatest teacher because he's the one who got me into kids' books, really full out, like not just dabbling, but like full out making literature for children. And I used to tell him stories and expose him to a lot of oral Métis storytelling in just the old-fashioned way. And he was like, and I loved reading as well. My mom has a teacher librarian background, and I'm like, read books and told stories. So he was the one to like put it got me to put it together is like, you tell me the Metis stories, make books. And so I actually dedicated my first giving tree to my son and to the elder, who was also the other inspiration. So what a great project that one was, the giving tree, because I had a little boy and a grandfather, T elder, do in the dedication, who are the two influences for the book, the story and the process.
What a meaningful thing to do for work too. We try and enjoy work, but it's not always like that. And something like that just would bring such joy.
It really does, and makes that energy sustained, because there's such a good, you're working towards something that's so needed. There was no literature really at that time on the topics that I was doing, and I was filling an important gap in the literature. And today it's just an explosion of children's literature for not just First Nations and Métis, Inuit, it's wonderful. Indigenous literature is really out there now, and I was part of the early process of it. So I'm really excited about that.
And something to be proud of.
Yes, I think most of the work I've created has been pretty timeless, and I've been told by many educators all over Canada that the books are classic, and they fit and they help them teach concepts to the kids and make it easier, to understand. So I love kids' books. I learn a lot from them. So I'm like a person, if there's no pictures with something, I don't have as much sustained attention. So I'm really a visual learner. So I'm like, kids' books will be eternal for me. I will always love anything illustrated with written material. I will read deeper and just really hang in there with the reading.
Interesting. I noticed that you also wrote a book about ribbon skirts, or co-wrote?
Yeah, ribbon skirts were, oh my gosh, Gabriel Dumont Institute has been such a beautiful treasure of working with the Métis community to preserve cultural knowledge. And I had worked with Bonnie Johnson. She's a Métis seamstress from my community here in Prince Albert. And I had been doing a lot of research on Métis style ribbon skirts and our particular style. We wore a lot of styles, but there was one style that we really definitively wore that was really us, and was a visual marker for us from our other relatives. And so I hadn't seen the pattern very often. When I was young, I did see a few of the older aunties and the older generation wear it, but it was missing. It was all the straight ribbon skirts. So this one has this beautiful double to triple, single, just ruffles. It was a good, beautiful style, and I just didn't want it to be lost. And so I took every photo in the fur trade, when the camera came, and all these fur trade photos of Métis women, and I took it to Bonnie, and I said, Bonnie, we got to reverse engineer this pattern. We need to start wearing our style and being part of our circle, of our community, with our own style. And bring it back.
That. So no, you have to. It's like history hasn't been recorded fairly and so we need to get that information and saved and passed down so that it doesn't get lost.
Well, and that's so true. And the thing I love about the Gabriel Dumont, they let us do the contemporary adaptation. So it's grounded in our history and our pattern, but we use a modern materials and modern things. And they let us do the historical writing, but also use new techniques from today. So it's all used with the machine and explained all with modern tools and stuff. So we were really blessed to, have that contemporary spin, but rooted in that history. So I really love that. That's how we meet, the community where they're at today, and we bridge, right? And keep those things going forward.
One of the interesting things that I've learned from you is the story behind the ribbon skirts, and somebody that just has grown up, I'm a Ukrainian Irish descent, didn't really get taught about what those skirts represented. So could you kind of dive into that a little?
Well, yes, because, for the skirt, it's like the circle of life, the hoop of life, and it grounds that woman to Mother Earth. It's that bond that the skirt represents, that our role in the circle of life and the energy to our Mother Earth and the medicines and the land and birthing, that is our womb energy, connected direct, to Mother Earth. So it's such a special teaching in regards to, just the skirt energy alone, and the teachings of the skirt and the wearing of the skirt with honors those energetic bonds that are so beautiful. And so, we often see today the skirt still always worn at ceremonies, but it's also diplomatic events, and women are just wearing their skirts proudly when they feel they need that strength building. And I'm so excited to see that sacred expression of femininity and feminine energy is being expressed today. And I never would have thought, I didn't see that one coming, that I would work in that particular area and grow in the sewing arts and teaching other community members to sew. So the book was really important, and we do workshops, and we actually did a huge ribbon skirt exhibition with the Man Art Gallery in Prince Albert, where we taught women how to make the ribbons, the Métis women's ribbon skirt. We juried in several Métis women, and they all made their own skirt, and we put them on mannequins for display last year. So we're pretty happy that we've been putting our art in our community, growing our community with textiles, our wearable.
Yeah, functional. Now, you actually had said that when we look at the designs on the ribbon skirts, at one point they told the story of sometimes the person wearing it, and I had no clue about that.
Yeah, they're so uniquely, like when anything's made by hand, it is so personal.
Yeah,
and
you're
you
right.
can really see, the person's identity story. And when we do the ribbon skirt workshop, we talk about velvet ribbons and the ribbon colors and the type of fabrics during the fur trade that were available. And we teach women all about these like little floral granny prints and the polka dots that were common, and the velvet ribbon through the Hudson Bay Company, at one point that was available. And so it was pretty fun, to let the women who didn't know some of their history and what their ancestors would have worked with. So sometimes we see a lot of that historical stuff get put into their modern skirt as they tell their story of them today. So that
Full
was
circle.
The power of that exhibition. Oh my God, it was a little old and a little new. It was mesmerizing. It was an amazing exhibition.
Wow. So for my first time talking with Leah, I have to say you really blew me away, because I'm a little, Sasky girl here in the Queen City, trying to figure out how I can, create work, but in a way that I feel is to the value of our community and serving the community. And I had this idea that I wanted to work with you and use your image on some of the products that I produce. And I was so nervous to talk and call, and because you were like a big deal. You're like the big deal of art for me, for Saskatchewan. And when I called and we connected, you have been nothing but just the nicest, easiest going person to work with. And to me, you're famous. How is that possible? For some people, I don't think realize where your art is everywhere.
It's really gotten everywhere, and I thank the creator every day for that. I really think that's so cool. I love it. And I love that we collaborated, and that we picked an image that was so strong. We're bound as mothers. We're community women leaders. We're doers. And the picture we created to birth our project, our apron that we have forthcoming, and some other items. I just feel that the image that we started really symbolizes birth and us coming together and bringing our community together. And so I think we got some wonderful, partnership going. And I love the fact that you and I, we thought about that apron, women working together, women bringing their recipe item to the mix.
Totally.
And then with, the beauty of working, like us thinking, okay, an apron, working women, and see, Métis women, we, especially during our early cultural years with the fur trade, we had maybe 2 dresses if we were lucky, 2 sets of clothes. And so those aprons were like so vital for work, so you didn't, have to clean and wash your clothing. And the aprons were just so beautiful. And they were a very big part of the Métis working women's culture back in the day. And it was nice that we were able to take a, modern twist to it with my art. We put those ribbons with that intentional, piece to show that beautiful design element that we both, with your Ukrainian heritage, we with Métis, ribbons and all that, are such a big expression with our dance and our dress and especially for women. Like I think we're so blessed in PA. We have strong Ukrainian community here, huge, and the dance community is very, very huge around Prince Albert. And I just remember being in awe of the color as well, and the pattern and the cross stitch and the ribbons and oh my goodness gracious.
There's a to-do, that's for sure. One of the items that we made, the apron, you wrote the tag for it, and I think that your words summarize some powerful messages. Do you mind if I read it?
Oh, I'd love that. Please read it.
Okay. So, women's daily work connects us all. This apron is inspired by working Métis women. The artwork speaks to the beauty and rebirth that happens in the spring when we all work together for our families and communities. This project is a working collaboration created in the spirit of reconciliation. And then there's a little note saying that the artwork is named Singing to the Aspen by Leah. And then Saskabilities, actually, we collaborated with them, and on Treaty 4 land, we had those ribbons sewed onto each and every apron, so that we were not just putting dollars into just one pocket or 2 pockets. We were trying to spread it around a bit so that lots of people can benefit from this.
Exactly. And that's what I love about what you do is it's a Saskatchewan focus and keeping our money in our communities and in our organizations. And I think that's so important, Kathy. And I love that you do that with your gifts. You're focusing on celebrating Saskatchewan because we often don't do that enough. And there's so much to celebrate and so much to say, wow, we are a special place and we have such a unique spin on things. And I think that's important. And I hope this apron project that we do really starts to, do that, inspiring others to collaborate and tell our special stories in our own way.
Well, and I think that a lot of the time we don't know where to start. And as I've gotten older, just kind of starting to just say, whatever, let's try it out. What's the worst that can happen? And
that's true. Age comes a little bit more like, it's like it just, what have I got to lose?
Yes.
Just try. And when you got that good heart and that, that vision and I think we really need to see role modeling collaboration and people trying things together. And maybe it's new, especially with reconciliation, which is like, holy, it's like we have to chart it ourselves because there's just really no standard for it. So we got to just do and put on our literally our aprons and our work gloves and just go out together and see what we can create together.
Isn't that so
really
cool?
meaningful.
I just think we're so blessed to be in a place where we can do something like this. And I just can't believe that you were willing to jump in and try this out with me and to see where it goes.
It's exciting. And I'm hoping I can see, more future things happening and, and also, we're growing, we're also supporting the gift shop industry in Saskatchewan and small little places that do have boutiques, and they can proudly say we have something from Saskatchewan women.
Yes, 100%.
Right here, because so much comes from elsewhere. And I've got to say, I got to give Oscardo Gifts in Toronto. They've done amazing making things, with my artwork. I have to say that they're everywhere. But there's something special about something birthed right here in my own community. And, I think that's important to do, to keep things local. do things at the community level.
Well, and you've been inspirational in more than one way. And I'm so blessed to have you here with me today talking about this project. It's like a dream come true. I really can't express it enough. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now tell me, I hear that there's something going on November 18th.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Again, the Man Art Gallery, who I can't say enough about, they are such a model of reconciliation in arts. Seriously amazing. They haven't mandated, and they've really made an effort. I got a shout out to the board and all the staff there, because they've really taken action. And we were so blessed that they applied to Sask Culture, and we applied because we had such success with the Métis ribbon skirts exhibition. And I've been wanting to make shawls, but I wanted to also have that moon. The moon is a muse. So we ended up getting a grant to make 13 moon shawls with local Métis women and have an art show this November. We're releasing. We're actually got 13 women. So Bonnie Johnson and myself are the lead artists, and then we have the other 11 women, and every one of them, we split up all the 13 moons of the lunar cycle, and each woman did their shawl on their moon they were assigned and told their own story. So they were picking fabric and ribbons and designing around the moon that they were gifted, and then telling their story of themselves in that moon and representing it. So we're going to have a big opening on November 18th in Prince Albert at the Man Art Gallery, and revealing these amazing shawl creations.
Will they be there for purchase by chance?
The shawls are just basically pieces of art, wearable art for the women are going to keep. So they're just they're on display, kind of like an art show, but they won't be for sale. You'd have to shoulder tap an artist if you fell in love with one and negotiate old Métis style negotiation.
I think that could work. I like